And I would also want to tell you that the Line Committee also a committee. The Line Committee is the committee of the Mahdi in Senegal, Imam al-Mahdi, who actually launched his call in 1883 to declare himself as the so-awaited Mahdi. He was illiterate and he launched his call at the age of 40. And he eradicated social class. He put men and women on equal footing and also gave responsibility to young people in the life of our community. So this is, the Line Committee in a nutshell. It's the community, as we say, of La ilaha illallah. Because in that community, we have given up our family names to adopt the name of Allah, that is Lahi. That's why I am called Bashir Lai. If you come to that and get Bashir Seck, they may not know. But if you say Bashir Lai, they will know who you're talking about. But that Lai is Allah Lahi. Because in our traditions and culture, when you say a family name, it refers to a social class. So to fight that, he said, let's all give up our family names referring to social classes to now take the name of Allah, because who than the Creator has more power, owns his creature. If you're a slave, you take the name of your master. And he is not a slave owner, he is the Creator. So we have to take his name and then make sure that we are on an equal footing. This is what the name lies mean. We will have time to talk about that later, inshallah. The second point is I'm speaking as the director of NMBC Africa. And when you say NMBC Africa, you cannot think of our brother David Castle. In just less than a year, he was able to come to Africa twice, talk to the presidents, the governments, but most important of all, to connect himself to the highest ranking Muslim leaders in Senegal. This may not be something that is meaningful for you, but in Senegal, the president cannot do anything without having the approval of the Muslim leadership. This is how it works in Senegal. In a word, they own the country. It's a very strong leadership. That was the reason why when the Khalifa in Touba said, thank you, it was retweeted 3 million times in less than 24 hours. Because these are people you don't see often. You have no idea what the knowledge is. So when he said, thank you, the Murid community said this is an injunction that we should go and learn English, because the Caliph spoke English. And this is how these people are influential in our culture. And it is those people that David Hassan connected with. So this is something that is historical. To have an African American Muslim come sit beside the Caliph of Touba to share his vision, a vision that was definitely owned by the Khalifa himself and the Muslim community. This is really important. That's why we really wanted to come as a delegation, a large delegation, to definitely pay tribute to David Hassan for his work. This is really, really important, because in the past, some people, some leaders, African-American leaders, they tried to reconnect with the country, like Reverend Sullivan, but they used to use, so to speak, politics to reconnect. It didn't work. And then we thought of using culture and religion, and also tradition, because Africa is all about tradition, culture, and culture. So to see Muslim people come to Africa using this religious bridge, Islam as a bridge, is, from my own experience, I've been working to build this bridge over the last 26 years. Since the time I was a sophomore, my first contact with African Muslims were people from Philadelphia who came to our community, 300 people, to come to visit our Khalifa. I was then studying English at university, and I was in secondary, and I was asked to come help in translation. So 26 years, but I have not seen a bridge that is stronger than religion, especially Islam, to build the bridge. And this is a message that David Hassan really understood the first time we spoke. So, as Director of NMBC Africa, I am glad, of course, to announce it, but it is a huge responsibility on my shoulders. NMBC Africa is dealing with governments, with presidents, and with the religious establishment. And it is a responsibility that I want to share with you, so you know that even though we may be in this room, if you go to Africa, when you talk about NMBC Africa, it's another level. Because of the connection that David was able to make with people, both in Senegal and Senegal. So I really don't know where to start or where to stop, because in less than a year, we were able to bring over 45 Muslim business people from all sectors, education, health, transport, you name it, to Africa to come to have a business conference, but on the sidelines to be able to go and visit all the religious leaders in our country. That was the first time in Senegal. And NMBC Africa is a branch, of course, of NMBC US. And we are definitely working to not only make that bridge stronger, but to see how we can help our African American brothers come back on the continent through economic development. Politicians, they failed. And when I first spoke with our chapter, like a couple of years ago, I wanted to invite him to see how we can build this bridge. He said, brothers, I think it's good to explore the economic development because as politicians, we have failed. So for NMBC now to understand that message, to open an office in Senegal, West Africa, is something that Africans really appreciate. And it is really impactful. It has great momentum right now in Senegal, NMBC Africa. Oh, Muslim business people are coming to see us. Our Muslim brothers are coming to do business with us. Oh, these people are Muslims. Because there's misinformation on both sides. Last week I was in Jeddah for the Islamic Development Bank annual group meetings. And I was representing NMBC Africa. We spent like 3 days with Ambassador Wally Shamsli and Ismail Abdul from the US. And when I had a discussion with one of the officials from OIC, the Organization of the Islamic Cooperation, and he asked me how come I came to the conference with an American delegation, especially Muslims, and I explained the work I was doing. He was surprised. He said, "Brother, we don't know what's happening in the African American community. We didn't know they are so well organized. We didn't know they have these top people. We have to know more about them." And we started discussing how we're going to, at least, help have a sense of observer advice for African American Muslims. But the other thing that we are now working on as NMBC Africa to see how we can do that. So this thing I'm doing is a passion. And I've been doing this over the last 25 years. If you come to Senegal, you say, Bashir, oh, American. I'm not American. My first time to America was last month. My first time in America was last month. I work with the U.S. Embassy, I work with all these people. I've never been in America. And they're always surprised. When you get the accent, I say, tell me if you know. It's the passion, and it's a lifetime passion to see our brothers come back on the continent. Because Chinese are coming to take opportunity. Indians are coming to take opportunity. Well, Turkish are not coming. Even Russia is coming right now. But who, more than African American people of African descent, has a genuine interest to see this continent develop? You come, you take opportunity, you come back home, you take what yours, you take opportunity, you build yourself, and you build Africa at the same time. This is what it's all about. And this is the message that David Hassan shared with us when he came. Oh, let's get it done. Oh, let's run it. Oh, we have to do commerce. Oh, we have to do business. We're going to do USA, we do business. You know, that's, you know, I like it. You know, and then he has, I don't know, created this. I don't know how he managed. Yeah, listen. You know, he has this magic. In no time, you can just get everything set up. You know. And this message is well heard and understood at the highest level of our country. Simply because one of the strategies that we're trying to use is, most of American people, especially Muslims, when I ask them to go and talk to the brothers, they say, do I have a mandate? Or they go to ask me, who are you to talk to us? Who do you think you are? Do you have a mandate? So, Allah has blessed me. 1.5 years ago, working with the government in Sierra Leone, they wanted to have some type of appointment for me. And I said, no, I'm not going to do an appointment. I'm just trying to get a very prominent Muslim African American to be appointed. And this is how I connected with my brother Wali Shamsuddin out of Atlanta, Georgia. He is my brother. Okay. And then we made the recommendation, and by the grace of Allah, he was appointed special envoy for trade and investment for His Excellency President Julius Malema. And then it's very important. It is important simply because after that, I had the opportunity to send a memo to our president, Macky Sall. So he asked me how he can help. I said, you being the current president of AU, I want you to take the vision to AU level, so that your colleagues, your counterpart, your peers president can now start thinking of appointing African Americans to give them articles of power. Yes. Mandate to go and talk to the people and talk to the world, because we have to help each other. That's right. We have to make sure that people, they respect us more, because what is Shamsuddin is an ambassador. He is His Excellency. What is Shamsuddin? He's owning a chain of restaurants, Supreme Burger, but when he lands on the continent, it's all what we call observed. And this is important. Whoever he sends to Sierra Leone or Senegal is all protocol observers. All the mentions are put in place. And this is really, really important. And we connect them with the embassies, our ambassadors in the US and abroad, for whatever thing they need to do with the US State Department, with the State House, that they know that they have mandate from a government, because the principle of the UN is that it's an equal dignity of nations and countries. The Gambia counts 3 million people. They have 1 seat. The US, they have 1 seat at the UN. though they sit in the Security Council, they have only one seat. So if a mandate is given by the government, it is a mandate that is equivalent to the mandate of the US government in international relations principles. So this is the reason why we said, okay, we're going to tap into that, to share the wisdom with governments and head of state, so that we can have more and more appointments like this. And we pray Allah. We are in discussion with the Gambia, with President Adama Barrow. We are in discussion with President Seck Barrow in Guinea-Bissau, and also with Dumbia in Guinea-Conakry, and they all like the vision. Because they all want you back, but they don't know how to get you back. And this is a very serious question. We don't know, we have no idea what language we have to speak to you to help you come back. We don't know. And if my brother was resigning, is working in the streets of Dakar, if he doesn't speak English, he will become a Senegalese. He just like a Senegalese. If you don't speak English in the streets of Dakar, people, they talk to you Wolof, our local language. Because we see no difference with my uncle like at home, or you have your identicals on the country. And now thanks to the DNA test, you can know where you're from. And it is based on that we say, okay, I have a brother Imam Mansour. The first time if I see you, I can tell each of you where they're from. And I may be mistaken, but maybe 90% I will be right. Just looking at you. I know, oh, this is from the Fula tribe. Oh, this is Wolof. Oh, this is Soninke. Oh, he's Bambara. And most of the time, I'm right. We are right. Because we know how to recognize our people. Now, how to get you back home? That is a question. That is a question. And thanks to Islam, we are being able to reconnect. But I think it is important that you know that we know that you have to come back. We know that you will come back. We know. Maybe we don't know when. We would like to be tomorrow. Because it's a matter of urgency on the front of Africa. We have the resources. We have the largest diaspora. And we cannot move things on the continent. And this is the big problem. We are fighting as African youth to get rid of France, for instance. But we need to have an alternative. France, they own the big companies. They create jobs. Even though, they are just plundering our resources, they're taking advantage. But if we have France out of Senegal, we need to have someone to come and replace France. That's why we need to talk to you. You have the knowledge, you have the skills, you have the resources, and you are able to survive in a hostile environment. Your journey is something that is just incredible. We know that you have challenges to have access to capital, decent job, universities, we know all that. But to see you being successful in your own ways, in business, in education, in all sectors, knowing that this system was designed for you not to make it, and you made it. That's why we need your skills, your knowledge, your resources, your connection in Africa. And this is the time. This is our time. This is our time. That's why people like David Hassan they have to be celebrated. I've been dealing with many, many African American people for 10, 15 years. They couldn't make this happen. In 6 months' time, he was able to make it happen. 6 months. We met in July in Fidancio Leon.
Oh, Bashir, okay. The conference, I remember organized a conference in 6 months. No, it takes me like 9 months, 9 months. But look, this one, we're gonna make it happen. 19 days we're gonna do work. We go to work, and then we make it happen. And then we're gonna open office in Dakar. In Dakar, we're gonna have office in Dakar, in Sierra Leone. And you run it. 6 months later, it was done. The Muslim leadership were there in the grand opening. The U.S. Embassy was there because one day before, on the eve of the grand opening, I had a meeting with the Deputy Chief of Mission of the U.S. Embassy in Dakar, just to share the vision. And I told them, well, Ambassador Wally Shamsuddin, he sent an email to the U.S. Embassy staff to invite them to the event. They didn't respond. And luckily, and unfortunately for them, I had a meeting with the Deputy Chief of Mission, Mr. Fisher. I said, well, we sent a couple emails to people, but I said, really? They have to go. And then he called the Commercial and Economic Section Chief right on the spot. Hey, you have to go tomorrow to the grand opening to present. Oh, really? I said, yes. They sent email. They sent email. But anyway, be there tomorrow. And instead of me running after them, the guy was running after me to come. And he happened to be a black man. But he's been nice.
Yes.
And really cooperative. They came. So the government, they came to the grand opening because they shared the vision of David Nassar. They know that this is going to make a difference because to have an office means that we're going to work. To have an office means that you will keep coming. To have an office means that you have your own home, and this is really important. So that's why normally, like in other circumstances, I would have been able to come here. I was from Jeddah. We had this big funeral. All those leaders passed in our community. I landed from Jeddah like Wednesday, Friday. I took another plane to come here. I missed the morning flight, the good flight. I had to go to Paris, but I had to be here. You cannot do something for David Hassan and not say me. No, it's not possible. It is not. And same thing with our leaders. They all want to come. And they will come, you will see all our people from the US coming to North Carolina. Because they were ready. I had Zoom call with them. They were trying to book their flights to come because the spokesman is not a small guy. No. They asked me, how do you want it? We want to just know where and when we book our flights. But we have a big association in America. The president luckily lives in North Carolina. So when I last came here, he invited me for iftar. And then he said, oh, Bashir, this is an opportunity. We have to connect with our brothers. And the spokesman is coming with our 107 committee. Just let us know how we can help. We were supposed to have our TV, because we have a US-based TV. We're supposed to come and broadcast it for our community, but we'll take a rent check. And inshallah, when the spokesman will be ready, we will be discussing with you to see what will be the best time for him to come. This is not the ceremony for us. We have to organize our own. And he has insisted that I made this very clear, I made this point. I cannot afford not to go to the US and celebrate and honor David Hassan. We owe him. And inshallah, in the next coming month, we will see with NMBC what would be the best time and what would be the best format. But let me tell you something. People will be coming, inshallah. Out of New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Columbus, Ohio. We have like communities in Columbus, Ohio, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, Atlanta, and they all calling because they thought that the spokesman will still come. And that's why I have to go to Atlanta, Columbus to talk to them to see how we can just reorganize ourselves to have this thing. So just to say that some people, they are blessed by Allah. They have a vision, and this vision that David has, because it is still alive. This vision is definitely making a huge difference on the continent. Have you business people come to Africa? Those who are doing education, they have to come to Africa. There's opportunities. We are seeing how to take opportunities, take advantage of us. We'd rather you take advantage of us than others. Because what you take is yours. But once again, we just want to know how to talk to you. And then how do you think we can engage? How do you think we can make things better? This is really, really important. Somewhere, some people might not want us to get to be united. That's fine. But it is our ultimate responsibility to make that happen. And Africa is ready. The AU, they have adopted a resolution making African diaspora the sixth region of Africa. Yes, like 5 years ago. Yes. The Africans in the diaspora, they are the sixth region of Africa, of the continent of Africa. Which means that you have constitutional rights to be appointed, to have your own government, to have everything you need to have. Because it is already right there in the AU Charter. And these are things that you have to know. But it's not easy because they have no idea how they can engage you. Because of what we see on TV, gunshots, drug dealers. Oh, what we see good, entertainers, basketball players, and this. They don't show us prominent intellectual people from our own community. Yeah. We just see, basketball players, entertainers, and that's it. And the Muslim of America, especially the community of Brother Muhammad, they have to open up. You've been sitting in your corner for so long. I can understand that. You have to nurture the project. But you have developed an Islamic identity that is unheard of over the last 9 years, if I'm not mistaken, from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Imam al-Din, up to nowadays. And the Muslim world, they need that contribution of yours to the development of the Ummah. I have said these words in Jeddah. That's why the OIC, they want to know about you, more about you. You need to stand up and open up. People, they want to know more about you. They want to know who you are. Because you are developing a model of Islamic community life that is, and this made me think of one thing that Allah says, that Islam is about all religions. Because we don't have a Vatican. We don't have a centralized power. In the first place, you don't understand why.
Yes.
But it is because Islam is going to survive, is going to take over, that we don't have a Vatican. Because if you have a centralized power, it's limited.
Yeah.
But now, in America, we have Muslims, indigenous Muslims of America, with an identity, with a journey, with experience, with some achievements that definitely can be shared with other Muslims. The way you deal with your mosque, it's not a mere mosque, it's not just a mosque, no. It's an entire community built around the mosque. In Senegal, we have a very nice mosque. When we pray, we just shut it down until next prayer. But here, when you say the mosque, each and everything you need, first place you think, oh, let me go to the mosque. We have to develop our mosque in Senegal, for instance, just like you guys are doing, to make our people more, to make it not more attractive, it is already, but more useful. We can spend $2 million in building a mosque. The last mosque the Marine community built is at least $40 million. This is the largest mosque in West Africa and the most beautiful. But what they do, they pray Juma 5 times a day. Oh, there's a conference room, but there's no community life around this mosque. And this model you are developing is something that you need to share with the Ummah. Because it is sustainable. It's a very sustainable model that you have to share. That's why I say you have to open up. You have to interact more with the Ummah, with Muslims, especially in Africa. They need to know more about you. We have the knowledge, we have scholars, we have no complex. In Senegal, we have all we need to be good Muslims. We have our own role models, we have our own examples. Wherever we go, wherever we meet as Muslims, we can lead a prayer, we can lead Jummah. And this is a blessing for us in Senegal. But still, we need to learn from you. We need to be humble to recognize that those who are calling babies in Islam have not grown up. But you have to know that, you have to realize yourself first, that you have a model that can be shared, you can be proud of. This is really important. I do a lot of research because I graduated in American Civilization and Literature, but I'm more focused in Islam in America. I know a lot about it, but looking at the journey, it is something that people have to know. How you move to the social justice movement, economic development, empowerment, and now you have a sustainable model, but this model has to be shared. Because this is the reason why Allah said that Islam will take over. Because maybe the model in America will be the one that will save the Ummah. Who knows? Who knows?
Allahu Akbar.
And I'm convinced that if this does not take over, it will be something that will be set as an example. It's not because of your nice eyes, I would say in French. No, this is something that I do believe. I'm convinced that you need to open up. You need to open up. You need to share your money. I go to NMBC. Oh, they have the butcher shop, the barber shop, businesses, house cleaning, all those things around the mosque. This is amazing. So we don't need to even to interact with people we might not trust with our health. To see a doctor. I'd rather go to the health clinic right there at the masjid, owned by my brother, good Muslim, than go see a doctor. Well, you know. So this is as simple as this. But maybe today or tomorrow, this model will be exported. Write it down. It will be taken overseas. Because even in Senegal, it's a prominent Muslim country, but the religious brotherhoods, they are trying to reinvent themselves to resist social measure, IT, all those new things, that we were not familiar with. You were able to make it here in the US. To pray 5 times a day in the US. Man, is that easy? Is that easy? In Senegal, you don't pray 5 times. No problem. To fast during Ramadan. My first Ramadan was this year. When I first came to America, I stayed for 2 weeks' time. It was my very first time to fast in a country where you see people during Ramadan eating in the streets. It's like, you don't see that. It's like it's Ramadan, you go out, it's Ramadan happening. Nightclubs are closed for 1 month. No, on the street, nothing. Whoever you see is with the Quran, with the beads, this is Ramadan time. But in the US, for 2 weeks, no way. Well, that come on. What's happening? Oh, you have to explain why you're not eating. You have to explain why you're not eating and drinking. It was shocking first, but then it became really interesting for me. I thought, oh, Bashir, you have to know that what Allah has given you in Senegal, you shouldn't take it for granted. It's a blessing. You fast with people who are fasting. In Senegal, if you're not fasting to eat, you go and it's like you hide. No, seriously. You would not see during Ramadan someone drinking coffee in the streets. No.
I was able to experience Ramadan in Senegal.
Even non-Muslims will not do that.
No.
Even non-Muslims, they don't do that. Oh, they say, oh, it's Ramadan.
Yeah.
They want to eat, they go eat. And they are Christians.
Yeah.
Because we are over 95% Muslim in this country. And our first president was a Christian. We had no problem with that.
That's right.
My wife's mother is a Christian. My mother-in-law is a Christian. No problem with that. But during Ramadan, it's a Ramadan time. So just to say that, these are things that I think we need to be grateful to Allah. We need sometimes to take time, as you say, and just work on ourselves. We have to work on ourselves. So once again, my message would be for Muslim African Americans, are you for it? Especially the coming of what is the name Muhammad, to open up, to stand up. I'm from Senegal. We have very prominent leaders, but one of my favorite is Imam Muhammad. The first time I read Facing God, he said, yeah, facing God, hard work, simple living, and high thinking. I said, that's me. I identify myself with that. That's why he's one of my leaders. So, you have to tell the world who Imam Muhammad is. And his contribution to Islam, people they have to know. Because for less, people are put in the record book, in the Guinness or anything like that. It is very important that it is your responsibility to make the world know who Imam Muhammad was and his contribution to the development of Islam in America, but Islam in general. Because his strategy was very smart. If he had wanted, he would have been creating his own, lineage. Oh, after him, his son would be the Caliph, as we do in Senegal. He didn't do that. He wants you guys to be a leader, men and women, wherever you are. And this thing we have to learn from you. In Senegal, we have Khalif. I'm from the, religious leadership lineage myself, from my mother's side. We have disciples, followers, but this model is not really sustainable now. But to just think of what Imam Muhammad did, he said, no establishment. My son Imam will not take over me. You guys are going to get to the leaders and do for self. That's why each one of you are imam. You're imams. He made you imams. He made you leaders. We didn't have that chance in Senegal with our Muslim leadership. You had it. And this we have to learn from you. There are many things that we have to learn. That's why we have to work on the legacy of Imam Muhammad. It's not a legacy for African American Muslims only. It's a legacy for Islam, for Muslims, wherever they are in the world. This is what I believe. I'm a Muslim. I'm a lion. I'm a blind community. We have no complex. Because the Islam we are practicing was not taught by outside. No. A man at the age of 40 called people to Allah, say, I'm the Mahdi. And he taught us Islam. And he's Senegalese. He is illiterate. He is illiterate. That's why we need to build the black leadership in Islam. It is important. The first will be the last, and the last will be the first. And we will inherit this earth. And unfortunately, we are the only one not to know it. Others they know, and they are preparing. We have no idea. Others they know that we will take over, but we don't know. And this is why it is sad. We're not prepared. And this is wrong. It's wrong. We have to be ready. And I think the experience of Muslims in America is something that is really, really, really important. It is essential in the future of Islam. Because of your journey. Because of your achievements. And this, inshallah, well, Allah will time will tell. But you have to be aware of that. You don't need to hide. You need to travel the world, meet with Muslims, share with them, invite them here to come and see what you're doing. What you're doing is amazing. It is amazing. I'm a Muslim, no complex. I go to Mecca, I go to Arab people, I go to Asia, no complex. No complex. But what I've seen here is one of the things that need to be definitely copied, developed, and spread out. I just want to close it right now because this is something that is a lifetime passion. So, inshallah, we will have other opportunities to discuss more and to go deeper. But once again, it's an honor and a great privilege, and I would like to thank the NMBC team, especially my sister Basima, who's been pushing, and also Brother Wadi Shamsuddin, and especially thanks to Brother Abdul Kareem, who's been running, just back and forth just to make me comfortable. But I'm at home. The same way you're home in Africa, I am at home. So I would like to thank you for your attention. And once again, the spokesman will be coming, inshallah, with the line committee, and we will organize or reorganize this dedication ceremony to our beloved brother, David Kalsan. Thank you very much.